This is football. I am Kevin Clark. Guys, Kyle Long is back. This is unbelievable. This is just an unbelievable episode. He's one of the funniest guys in football media. He's with CBS Sports. You know him, you love him. This is the third time he's been on our show. And I think once we get going here, it was probably his best performance. That's saying something if you remember his performances from the last 2 years. As a reminder, 5-star reviews help us help everybody. This is football. It's presented by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Download the app today. 21 plus gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We have two great guests later in this week. Two players. Don't want to tease them just yet, but obviously the one player we can reveal is Kyle Long because he's here right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Long. All right, Kyle Long is here. He is from CBS Sports. He is a badass former NFL offensive lineman, former baseball pitcher. What was the velocity on the pitches?
On an average day, I was probably 92, 93. But like if I saw some radar guns, if it was another ace from another school, I would ramp it up and I could get to 96, 97 from the left side. Baseball was a lot of fun, Kevin. They gave me the ball, which is something I haven't done in like 20 years. And you get to call your own plays, essentially. It's fun.
Did you touch a football in a regulation NFL game?
Yes, and I was actually telling this story to J.J. Watt the other day.
No big deal.
We had Cam Jordan in studio, and we went with a two-way in the monitor with J.J. Watt, and we were comparing their stats, tackles for loss, sacks, all that jazz. And I said, I don't even have stats. And I said, actually, I do have one NFL stat. One catch against the Minnesota Vikings on a tip throw from Jay Cutler at or around the line of scrimmage. I caught it. I was staring at the thing like it was like a scene from The Sandlot when the kid's watching, the ball come at him for the first time. And Everson Griffin, Brian Robinson, they cut me in half, and I helicoptered. The ball went flying. So I have one catch, -2 yards, and a fumble, and that's my claim to fame.
That's amazing. Did you ever when the ball is coming towards you was like, this is my moment. I'm gonna score a TD here.
I just remember thinking like, see it in. And then I saw it in and I didn't think about the next part, which is like, keep it tucked away and get out of the way or just go down. I would have just gone down if I could do it again.
Like the young man on Baltimore last year, he got he get the interception. Michael Pierce, I think, just go right down.
Yeah,
he was like, I'm not doing anything. I got nothing. No, I'm not doing that. All right, a lot to get to. I want to start with the Bears because I want to start positive. I've been doing too much negative, and I don't mean it. I'm a positive person. I want to start with the Bears and not the Chiefs. Brother, is it happening for the Bears?
I was, another conversation I was having today. I was talking to my older brother, Chris, about this and how I feel like there's a handful of teams that are ahead of schedule right now. And you can look at the New England Patriots and say, they're just a good football team. Yeah, they're ahead of schedule, but like we knew the Vrabel effect. There was this relative unknown about Ben Johnson as the head guy in Chicago. To see what he's done and look no further than the results of some of these one-score ball games. And I think that's a real indicator of culture, coaching, and guys buying in and never being out of the fight. And I think while they haven't gotten the exact return they want for the money they spent on defense, the things that you've seen from this offense has been remarkable. And I think it's one of the quietest dominant offenses in the National Football League. When I look at week in, week out, their production, yes, they've had down weeks, but every friggin' team in the National Football League has had down weeks. Daniel Jones had a down week with the Indianapolis Colts. Sam Darnold had his down week this past week. I'm not going to hold that against him for the rest of the season. He's still part of a good team. And that's what I see with the Bears. They can run the football effectively. They invested in the right guys on the offensive line. The question mark to me was Jonah Jackson, and he's been an ass kicker inside for this team. He belongs on the badass wall behind you.
There we go.
They've gotten a ton out of their guys. And I think Caleb cutting the sack number in half is probably at the top of the list of things I've been most impressed by. And obviously – he can get out of things like Houdini. He looks like Fran Tarkenton out there at times. But it's the not sexy evasions that have really turned me on to this Bears offense, his ability to get the football out.
Yeah.
And the accuracy stuff, it still shows up from time to time, but it's way better than last year. And they've let him let his freak flag fly a little bit with his legs. And it is so much fun to watch. And, look no further than Josh Allen this past week. 6 touchdowns, 3 on the ground, 3 by air. When you have the ball in the quarterback's hand, it changes the numbers for these defenses. They have to cover 11 people. That's hard to do with these athletes now at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said. I have a couple questions from what you said, because you said a lot. I want to start here. I had said the first week of the season, first 2 weeks of the season, I had said, you know what? The Bears weren't getting off the start we thought. And I tweeted this and people were laughing at me. I was like, I'm going to give Ben Johnson more than a week to exercise 40 years worth of football demons in Chicago. Like, it takes a lot. You've been there. You understand the market. You loved being a Chicago Bear. You love being a Chicago Bear every day, right? What kind of personality is it taking to come in there and actually change that culture in a way it seems like Ben Johnson is doing?
Well, one thing you have to be is authentic, particularly in a city like Chicago. They can smell the bullshit a mile away. Players, coaches, the other staff members, the equipment staff that has been there since Walter Payton got fitted for a helmet. Literally, actually, Kevin, Tony Medlin was the guy that fit. So my point is, they've seen a lot of ball. So if you're coming in trying to hoodwink people, fool people, you're not going to do it. Matt Nagy did a good job of being himself. But I think circumstances dictated that there was kind of a ceiling to the success, and we had our magical run in 2018, and they're having their magical run now. But the difference is, I think this team has the bones offensively to be a much better football team, and they have so much youth. I think that's really the thing that stands out to me about this group.
Offensive line wise, I put out a question on Twitter: who's your secret MVP this year? And every Bears fan, to a man, and it shouldn't even be a secret, but they said Joe Thuney. It shouldn't be a secret, but it is, just because of the offensive line. The way that
Joe Thuney, yes, yeah. But we have this. I have the same kind of boredom with Joe Thuney that people have with greatness with Patrick Mahomes. So I'm going to say Darnell Wright, because he is truly, if you look at the archetypical Ben Johnson style offense, you have a guy that you can run behind on third and whatever. And that guy is Darnell Wright. And they found a way to feature him in the offense in some of these plays. Take a look around the league, and some of the most dominant run blocking guys are out front leading the convoy. Tristan Wirfs this past week getting around the line of scrimmage to the right-hand side, blocking 2 guys. Penei Sewell has been doing it for a number of years now. Trent Williams is the guy that is kind of like the gold standard for it. And Darnell Wright is quickly becoming part of that conversation.
I wasn't prepared for you to pivot off of Joe Thuney and compare him to Patrick Mahomes, but Darnell Wright, obviously.
That's how great Joe Thuney has been. He only wins everywhere he goes, Kevin.
That's all he does. That's all he does. He wins. But I guess the question is, with Ben Johnson, like, you knew he needed credibility in the offensive line because you saw what he was able to do scheme-wise when he was behind the Detroit offensive line. How has it got from personnel, from schemes, from everything? Like, how has this offensive line gotten this much better this quickly to make Caleb Williams' life significantly better than last year?
I think they had an understanding from Jump Street that this kind of felt like a Pro Bowl offensive line. And I'm not talking in terms of like tackle to tackle, this thing is all stars. I'm talking about like, we all just got off a plane from different locations. Let's figure out how the hell we're going to get this thing blocked up on Sunday.
Right.
And I've been a part of a few of those groups, and it's always hectic, but it's a little bit fun. There's that kind of, nobody anticipates us, gelling in this short amount of time. And to your point, the first few weeks, it wasn't fantastic. There was a lot to be desired. And, the center position is really where I think the Detroit Lions offensive line really stood apart from other offenses, because they had a manimal at center and Frank Ragnow, who could really be the tip of the spear. And we could talk about Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell and the strength of the tackles in Detroit. But let's be honest, Kevin, and I'm not going to whisper it, it's the interior part of the offensive line that dictates success more often than not in these groups in the NFL. And Drew Dahlman took less money to come to Chicago because he wanted to be part of something special, and he really felt like and he's a Stanford guy, so he's smart.
Yeah, there you go.
With him, so Drew Dahlman,
he knows.
He came, and if you've ever seen Drew Dahlman, he's not built like Frank Ragnow. He's not, he is That slider, he's a big guy. Don't get me wrong, and he comes from a football family. His old man played for a long time, but he's not Frank Ragnow, and Frank Ragnow isn't everywhere. He's pretty much in. It was Frank Ragnow in Detroit and Creed Humphrey in Kansas City that were like just monsters of men that could play any position. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Drew Dahlman is your classic center. He's smaller than the guards. He runs well. For him to have success, he had to start being perfect in these combination blocks. And as the season rolls on, you get more comfortable with these guys. And I mentioned Jonah Jackson earlier in our conversation. We knew that him and Joe Thuney were going to be just fine. The X factor was if Jonah Jackson can get on board and be a mauler in the run game, and they have been, and they work well in solo blocks. They work well in combination with one another. So I think that's why, while it's a different city, it's a different group up front for Ben Johnson, he still gets the luxury of having good players, and he can scheme to what works well for them. And they've done that.
You mentioned the one-score games. I'm going to use that as a pivot towards the Chiefs, because the Chiefs have now lost all of their one-score games this year after going undefeated last year. And to me, a lot of people were like, oh, it's luck and, you're just regressing to the mean or whatever. I think it's very simple, is that I saw a stat today. They're giving up way more third and longs, which on defense, which is a good way to lose games, especially close games, is you're giving up a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. And they're going 3 and out in the fourth quarter, which they never used to do. I'll put it to you, especially in the one-score game thing. What's wrong with the Chiefs right now?
I think that there is a part of this conversation that you said at the beginning of this point, which was like, we're just regressing to the mean. Yeah. Like, things are just, parity, right? That it's a 4-letter word. And when I think about the Kansas City Chiefs, it reminds me of the scene in Game of Thrones where, what's the really handsome actor that's in everything? He's got the guy he had the mountain dead. This guy had the mountain dead, right?
Yeah,
dead to rights in like a 1-on-1 duel, and he was like celebrating a little bit.
Oh, is Pedro Pascal?
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
And Pedro Pascal had his face ripped open by the mountain in front of everybody. So I'm not going to sit here today and put the Chiefs 6 feet under, because you and I know all too well that this group can find a way to turn it on. And let's hope, for me being a fan of Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, an appreciator of 9 straight AFC Wests and Andy Reid's greatness, let's hope they can find a way to turn it around. And I have faith in that group that they will. To your point, though, giving up those explosive plays on defense and gotta have it downs is not the MO of the Kansas City Chiefs. And even when they got into shootouts in years past, they found a way on those money downs to make plays. Chris Jones gets to the quarterback.
Yep.
McDuffie finds a way to lock somebody up. Nick Bolton contacts the tight end and the ball hits the turf. That's what we've seen from the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not saying it's gone away, but it wasn't there at the beginning of the season. They had to be perfect. Patrick Mahomes led this friggin' team in rushing for like 8 weeks. That's not good, buddy. That's not great. But look, they've got to be perfect here moving forward. And if there's any team in the National Football League that I have faith in, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. And the other team that I think kind of is mirroring, and we kind of made a louder deal of it, is the Baltimore Ravens and what they've done this season. Beginning of the year, I picked the Ravens to lose to the Eagles in the Super Bowl. And, that third team, the Eagles, another team that, quietly is, what are they, 8-2? And they're the Eagles, but they're boring and they're ugly. And it's fugly is the word I would use. It's fugly at times, but they're just winning, bro. And the Kansas City Chiefs, to your point, those one-score games, they haven't worked out. So it looks fugly instead of like, well, they're
clutch.
Not perfect, but they're going to be in there.
It used to be just, they're clutch.
In the hunt graphic, Kevin.
I know, dude. I know. And there's still, I think that maybe now the Bills are the AFC favorite as far as betting lines, but like until yesterday, the Chiefs were the Super Bowl favorite in Vegas. We can't give up on them.
You can't quit them, dude. I mean, but it makes sense. It just makes sense for all the great things that they've done, and they still have the cast there. So
yes, we can't I can't give up.
Spags, Nags, Reed, Kelsey, Mahomes. I mean, even I count Noah Gray in there as kind of like the Robin to Travis Kelsey, and they just didn't hook up. I mean, there were some inaccuracies on Patrick Mahomes yesterday. But we know that those types of teams with dominant pass rushes and front sevens that are going to just annoy you and win with 4, that's what has frustrated Mahomes in the past. And those defenses don't grow on trees, so you're not playing them every week.
That always makes me laugh whenever it's like, well, it's a copycat league, and if you want to beat Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, you got to
copy that.
Rush 4 and get home. Oh, that's all. Okay, cool. Now teams will try to rush 4 and get home. What about rush 3 and get home? Oh, wow. Okay, we'll try that too. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead and copy that, boys. You mentioned Jay Cutler earlier. It's something we never gotten into. What was it like? Give me a Jay Cutler story that just explains what it was like to play with him.
I had a very unique relationship with Jay because when I arrived in Chicago, it was clear to me that it was a non-traditional quarterback situation in that locker room from a social standpoint.
Yeah.
And I just think Jay was born in the wrong century. I really believe that. He's kind of like Dances with Wolves, Kevin Costner a little bit. He wants to be out by himself journaling, and he just happens to rip the fastball 100 miles an hour and can run over linebackers, talk a little shit. Look, Jay was always very good to me, and I think the minute Jay sensed that I could in some way benefit his life, he swooped me up and was like, I'm going to make sure that you stay out of trouble. Because I think he could smell trouble on me. And it was usually Marlboros or, Hurricane 40s, but he could smell it on me, and he wanted to make sure that he kept me close because he had probably seen a number of guys that were talented that maybe he was doing them a favor, ex posto facto, helping me out a little bit. And I just, being popular wasn't important to him. Being liked wasn't important to him. Whereas me, I walk in the room and I want to make sure I check every box socially, and I want to make a joke to the trainers and blah, 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 blah. Jay did not care about that stuff. What he cared greatly about was playing football. And what he cared greatly about was working hard in the weight room and being on time. And I remember one instance, we had went out drinking one night, and he got us a car back. By the way, he got us a car. I think he got himself a car back. And the next morning, somebody had broken into my house at 6 a.m. and it was Jay Cutler. He was making sure that I was getting to the workout the next day on time. And he was like, we can have fun, but we got to, he broke into my house with like his kid in his arm. It was a soft break-in. I probably left the door unlocked. I woke up and Jay Cutler's in my doorway, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, just making sure we're ready to roll."
What time do you think we got home? What time did you get home? Like 3?
Yeah, probably. I'm a 2 guy. I'm a 2 and an Italian beef and fall asleep.
I'm a 2 guy too. You can't 3. You're entering different.
What are we in Miami? Where are we? Rio de Janeiro, buddy? Come on.
3. Come on, man. I can't do 3. I'm a 2 guy. So anyway, you were saying he cared. I
had a pitching coach that used to tell me, if you're not in bed by midnight, you may as well come on home.
It's a good rule of thumb.
Shout out to him.
All right. You said yesterday on Twitter that somebody asked you if you were Chris Long. How often does that happen?
A lot. And a lot. And
why? Did people just get their wires crossed?
They recognize they know the last name.
Oh, okay.
Like I was at Delaware calling a game, Delaware, Western Kentucky, a month ago. And I'm in my CBS sports jacket. I got my lanyard on, and I'm walking up, and I'm way early, so there's nobody at the stadium. And I go to walk in, and the one guy goes, "Can I see your badge?" And the other guy goes, "Don't worry about him, Mr. Dilfer. You're welcome here anytime." And I just remember being like, "Oh my God, I haven't heard that one." I've heard so many, because if you're a bald guy, there's only so many like looks you can go.
Yeah, of course.
It's like Madden generic bald 1 through 7. And there's like 7 things you can go with: goatee, mustache, beard. There's only a few mustaches you can go with as a shaved head guy that are acceptable. But
Wait,
yeah, I
so what's
settled on this look, and thank God me and Chris look different. You would think that people would know, but it's better than getting called Jake.
Oh, yeah, that's a good thought. All right, give me the Mount Rushmore of guys that Kyle Long is confused for.
Chris Long, Jake Long, Trent Dilfer, Johnny Sins, and there's one other one, Bull from Night Court.
Nobody Google Johnny Sins. Whatever
Bro, you
you
should
do,
see. No, I'm dead serious. If you look at my
don't Google it.
if you look at my Instagram comments, people are like, "This guy fixed my refrigerator last week. This guy's the best plumber ever."
Yeah, this guy. Someone a couple years ago submitted a photo. I think it was the Vikings were doing like a honor the troops thing, and somebody submitted a
Yes,
photo of Johnny Sins. It was like, my cousin's in Iraq
he
right
was
now.
on the jumbotron.
Yeah, he was
bro.
on the jumbotron. He was on the
And
jumbotron.
everybody's
Clap,
so
clap,
hard.
clap. You got to support our heroes, man. You gotta.
He's an icon.
All right. Best line.
Jay Buhner.
Jay Buhner's a great one.
So that was the guy that when I was going through my going bald phase at 21, I was like, I remember a guy by the name of Jay Buhner that played with, Swingman.
Yeah.
He looked awesome. So I'm going to go with that. Steve Austin.
Steve Austin and Scott Van Pelt, I think, is a great ambassador to the bald community. I don't have a hair issue, but if I did,
you have fantastic hair.
I appreciate that. I would be all in on embracing the look because I have so many role models.
You can't straddle the fence.
No.
Because that looks sloppy.
We see that too much.
Wouldn't allow that on the Yankees. Okay, he would say, and figure that out.
All right, best line in football.
Man, when X-rated, when I used to explain leverage and getting guys to move off the ball, I used to tell the young players to pretend they're putting their through the wall.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Wait, I'm sorry. I meant best offensive line in football.
This is like when Demi Lovato got asked what her favorite dish was, and she said mug. She said mug because it keeps hot things away from your hand.
we did one Johnny Sins comment, and now all of a sudden we're just completely off the rails. Best offense. No, we're going to keep that in. I love that.
Best offensive line in football. What are we trying to accomplish?
We are trying to. All right, now here's what it is. Running a 4-minute to close out the Super Bowl. You're up 2 points, and you just got to draft an offensive line out of the 32 teams right now to be in front of the 16th best quarterback in football.
Oh, see, I was gonna go with the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
And what they're able to get done, not only with their starting five, but their heavy personnel. I feel like the incorporation of the fullback and the things that Aaron Kromer does creatively to create advantages up front. While I think that the guys are awesome and the continuity's there, I think schematically they put the game in their hands. And you mentioned 16th best quarterback, but I'm thinking about Josh.
Yeah, of course.
Guys, and the special things that they can do
of course,
to put him in position to take the game over. And you saw it last week, particularly in the red area. I was listening to Olin Kreutz a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
Talk about, and I think Olin is brilliant. And
I agree.
He's, in my opinion, he's a Hall of Famer, and, we'll find out in time. But Olin said, this is about the Bears when they went and played the Ravens. He said that red zone plays are about players, not plays. And I think this is an old Marty Schottenheimerism. That's what Adam Shine says, by the way. I think it's a Schottenheimer quote. But
that tracks.
It's about players, dude. When you get down in these tight spaces and you're in a fist fight in a phone booth and everybody in the stadium and their mama knows that you're going to run the football. And they know more often than not which side it's going to because they study too. It doesn't matter what's drawn on the piece of paper. It matters who's going to just not accept defeat and find a way to roll guys out. And I feel like the Buffalo Bills have a team that can just drain the blood out of you. Obviously, the Philadelphia Eagles, when they're at full strength, and I don't know what's going on with Lane Johnson. We'll
It's
find
out a
out
few
more.
weeks. Sounds like he's got Liz Frank out a few weeks.
He's been dealing with a ton of stuff, bro. So now he's got upper body, lower body. That's tough to say. It's the Eagles, but the Bills have had continuity and health. So I'll go with them.
I want to show you my producer. He's amazing, Miles. He found your catch. And,
oh my God!
Well, I just want you to see the photo of you just being mauled.
I got absolutely killed. But peep the ball security. I think. I mean,
yeah, there it is.
Dude,
there it is.
That's a lot of white on that jersey. That's a large boy.
Nobody can peanut punch that out. You're good, bro.
That ball's actually already at my knee, so we're in big trouble. Yeah, I mean, that must have been 2013 or 14, and I was a tight end in high school and a little bit of college, so I'm no stranger to seeing the ball. I didn't see the ball behind the line of scrimmage much, particularly with two DNs closing on me. That was no fun. All right, a couple more for you. Obviously, you went to Oregon. You went to Florida State. You started out at Florida State. Hell of a time there.
I was going to say, my best friend went to Florida State, and I would visit him for his birthday right before the semester started. Every time I left, I was like, I don't think I would have made it. Like, I don't think I would have made it 4 years. You just booze, and you'd wake up in my buddy's fraternity house. You have you just 7 hours missing, basically. And you're like, I don't know how you do this for 4 years.
Yeah, when you graduate, which I never did at Florida State, when you graduate, apparently they give you a bunch of Powerade, they give you a free trip to rehab and your diploma, and they're like, "Good luck on the reset, the hard reset here that you're about to experience." I had about 4 or 5 years worth of fun in about 4 or 5 months, and I joined a fraternity. I played baseball. I was wrestling with all the football guys. I had a hell of a time at Florida State. And sometimes I wish that I would have just figured it out and stayed there, because what a community, what an alumni at FSU. But yeah, dude, it was fun, bro. It was fun. And Oregon equally as fun, just a completely different.
Yeah, I was about to ask. Okay, so tell
freaks.
Wait, what?
Dude, I'm telling you. The people at Florida State are like party freaks. They just go, they can party. It's spring break every day. The thing about Oregon,
I have a friend who calls Florida State high school without parents.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it, 100%. And everything's catered to them, like being, outside and enjoying the nice weather.
Yeah. But Oregon.
You go to Oregon, it's like ultimate cozy season. It's the best summer you've ever seen. The greenest trees, the cleanest water. It's like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. You can even eat the dirt. You know what I'm saying? And then the football season happens, and that low ceiling of cloud cover shows up. Now, it never rains at Autzen Stadium, but it rains the entire property of the Oregon campus. Amazing community in Eugene. The people are second to none. And you don't know where the hell all these people are until Saturday. They come rolling out of the woods and they show up at Autzen, and they just are really smart fans, a lot of fun. And it's one of the best parties I've ever been to, was at Autzen Stadium playing football.
All right. So last thing on this. So you played for Chip Kelly at Oregon when they were just rolling. They went 12-1 that year, finished number 2 in the country. With that offense at the time was changing football.
Yeah.
Give me either the story or the take or whatever that just explains what that era of football was like under Chip Kelly in the Pacific Northwest.
I just remember that every time my boots touched the ground when we got off the bus, being confident that we were going to put up 50 points. And I didn't care if they rolled out Batman to put him at 3 technique. We had an answer, and we were going to find a way to expose them. And, the team that beat us that year was Stanford, and Stanford was like the anti-venom for what we did. We were fast. We were sideline to sideline. DeAnthony Thomas, Kenyon Barner, Marcus Mariota, like in their heyday. Chip Kelly was an untouchable offensive guy. And that's not even to mention the defense was special. We had a number 3 pick on our team, Deion Jordan. Kiko Alonso was our linebacker. We had fantastic football players. Stanford had a bunch of badasses at the line of scrimmage, and they lined up with 3 tight ends, and they ran it for 5 yards in a cloud of dust 50 times. And I think we missed a kick at the end of the game, but
went to overtime. Yeah,
they were a great team. They beat us, but that was the only game where I was like, oh my God, we're human. You know what I mean? Like, this is crazy. And then we went to Kansas State, and I think DeAnthony ran the opening kickoff back and did the track finish, and we put up 50. We were a really good team, and it was fun. And one lesson I remember going fast was the utmost of importance.
Yeah.
Everything we did was scientifically designed for us to be able to go faster. The way we ate, the way we slept, the way we talked. And I remember having some confusion on a scheme, and it was a scheme where it's like we're outflanking the defense immediately, and you got to get your eyes back inside for somebody. And the issue was sometimes you're right next to your buddy when you release, and you go for the same guy, blah, 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 blah. Chip Kelly he made it so simple. He goes, it was Colt Lyerla was the tight end, one of the most talented.
Yeah, I remember him.
One of the most gifted human beings I've ever been around in all my years. And it didn't work out for him in the NFL, but should have and could have. And me and him, we were 2 peas in a pod. And at practice one day, we got an argument about we both blocked a linebacker. And Chip Kelly grabbed us both by the helmets. And he was like, if you show up at a party and there's a pizza box and it's full of pizza, are you guys going to bitch about, taking the same piece, or you should get to pick a different piece? Like something as simple as that. And I remember being like, holy shit, just block somebody who's not blocked. You know what I mean? Like, don't worry about overthinking it. Just like, if Colt is on somebody, go block somebody else. And hey, Colt, dumbass, if I'm on him, you go get somebody else. And we like high-fived, and then we put up like 60 points that week. Chip made it so much fun, and you hear so much about Chip Kelly. And, there is a vocal minority of players that have stepped out and have been adamant about their stance on Chip Kelly. Well, I'm part of the silent majority who has now stepped up in defense of Chip. Chip was great, and he made our team better, and he made me better as a person.
Incredible stuff. All right, last thing for you quickly. So last time you gave us Akeem Nicks as a badass. We need another badass. Who are you going with?
Is Tristan Wirfs on that wall?
He is not on this wall. He's not on this wall.
Get Tristan Wirfs up there. Click and drag him. Make him about 42 inches big on that wall. I mean, you watch that guy play, and there are some people that are actual dancing bears, and he's one of them. And there have been a handful of these guys in the National Football League. It is an absolute luxury to be able to watch him block, lead block, be out in space. Tristan, and just one of the kindest human beings, but capable of total domination.
Love it. Kyle Long, CBS Sports. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, KC.
This is Betting is brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Bet $10 to get $100 in bonus bets when you use code Clark. 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Interesting one on Monday night. I'm looking forward to this one. You know what? I love all football. In March, you're going to be begging for it. It's what I always say. Everyone, it's 3-5-1 against 2-7. Yeah, okay. Talk to me in May. You crawl over glass for this game. Cowboys 3.5-point favorites on the road. Raiders have been inconsistent. Pete Carroll, it sounds like he thought this was going to go a little easier for him. They brought in Chip Kelly. They brought in Geno Smith. They drafted Ashton Genty. It seemed like, there'd be instant credibility there. Everybody was talking about how the AFC West could be really good and they could have 4 teams and 4 playoffs, blah, blah, blah. Like all the stuff that we thought, and they're 2-7. Geno Smith looks really bad. They have the lowest pressure rate, third lowest pressure rate in the entire NFL. And they have generated 27% pressure rate. That's really bad. But let me tell you something. The Raiders are going to win this game. They're at home. Geno Smith's not going to turn the ball over a million times. and then Brock Bowers, who I think is one of the best players in football. I think he's one of the absolute best players in football. He's due for a breakout game. There's some individual talent here in Vegas that I think is going to show out in a game like this, enough to beat a team like the Cowboys. Max Crosby not only is one of the best pass rushers in football, he's one of the best run stuffers. Brock Bowers, who I already mentioned, okay? I think that there are some guys here who can steal a game like this. Give me the Raiders, 3.5-point dogs. Home dogs are the most reliable thing in sports. Give it to me. It's going to be the Raiders.